Hey, I want to go ahead and thank you, and I appreciate you calling in today. This you know what? It's Friday the 13th today. Are they showing any scary movies over there where you're
Oh
at?
yeah. Nah, not yet, not yet.
Man, hey, I want to go ahead and
Right
welcome you.
now, right now they blessed us with a football game on Fox, but no scary movies.
All right, hey, close enough. We might see some scary activity on that field over there. Hey, but hey, I want to go ahead and thank you, for calling in to you have a collect call from, and we haven't talking we haven't spoken in about I think at least like over a month. No, hold on, it's been I think the last time we spoke was like around July, around my lady's birthday. So it's been at least a month and a half since the last time we spoke, and maybe even two. Anything
Yeah,
any changes over there where you're at right now? Because you're currently located at Ironwood State Prison, and normally everybody else that I bring on, they're normally calling from a Centinela. So uh, 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 I'm not sure if any changes are going on over there where you're at.
I mean, there's a lot of changes. You know, they're not right now, so they're not immediate, right? But there's like certain changes that are going to be happening within my prison or this prison. So this went from a level 3 to a
New
level 2
tonight, we're hearing.
non-designated, right? Which
Yeah.
means SNY and GP together.
What?
Basically a program yard. So that would transition happened in January. I got here February, but so because they went from a level 3 to level 2, obviously it's lower security. So and they shut down Chuckawalla State Prison. So they brought everyone from Chuckawalla to over here, and that's been a process in itself. So Chuckawalla is officially completely shut down. So not only did a lot of the inmates from there come over here, but we got a lot of staff. So there's been like a power struggle, amongst the COs. Like some of the Ironwood cops are like not programmed, right? Where Chuckawalla, like all those COs and staff members are like super programmed. So they've been battling, the wardens, the acting warden from Chuckawalla, all this stuff, but they're starting to cut down job positions. So obviously I'm in cell living. I'm not in the dorm. So there's a gunner. There's a tower with a Mini 14 up there. And coming November, we're not going to have that anymore, and our doors are going to be open.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, so there's not going to be no tower. Our doors will be open all day, and a lot of the cops' positions are getting cut. Like, I don't want to say in half, but like there's a lot of job positions that are going to be closing down. We're not going to get night yard anymore on Wednesdays and Thursdays because of the lack of COs. So a lot of that has to do with like California's budget and what's going into the prison system and all that. So we're about to start seeing like a whole bunch of different changes, which is going to be a little weird, but we'll get through it.
Man, that's a trip. I recently I think I was listening to either the news or a YouTube channel or something, but they recently mentioned that they're going to be closing down five prisons in the state, and that Ironwood was one of the prisons that they're going to be closing by the end of the year. But I'm not sure if that's correct, if that's just like a rumor around the water cooler or whatever. But
Yeah.
those are the things people are talking about right now.
So the projected date, if it does close down, will be, if they have it at 2028, right? So when a prison closes down, they'll have, like, let's just say Ironwood, they say it's 2028, but they close it the year before, so it'll be 2027. That's not set in stone. So, like, they're still trying to figure out if they're going to close complete prisons down, or if they're just going to do it on yards. Like, where I came from in Tehachapi, they closed down the 1 yard and the 2 yard. So they're trying to figure out like what's more effective, closing down yards or closing down the prisons. Because obviously, if you close down the whole prison, then people lose jobs. It impacts the community where that prison's at. But obviously, as someone on this side of the spectrum, like as much as it hurt, obviously I don't want someone to struggle financially or like their kids to starve or anything. But at the end of the day, if they're closing prisons, that means that they have to let more people out of prison because they're not going to be able to maintain that. I mean, even if they do it with yards too, it doesn't really make a difference. But you know, I'm in support of closing these prisons down and giving the people that truly change their lives. Not saying that they deserve it or anything, but at least give them a chance, because I'm pretty sure you're aware of this, but like the recidivism rate of lifers and long-term offenders is way lower than those who are in and out or have like 3-5 year sentences. You know what I mean?
From what I've heard, former lifers normally have a less than a 1% chances of actually reoffending and going back into prison. I mean, this is just what I think. It's just because they know what it is like to have a life sentence and not having any hope at one point in time. So they know what it's like. Not having the mentality that they were possibly never going to come home, and they got an opportunity now. So all those thoughts that they had about changing their life, they could actually put it to practice and put it to work.
Yeah, that's definitely one aspect of it, but think about it this way too, though. Like, if you're doing life in prison, they're not just gonna let you out.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do some like major work on yourself. You have to have like a certain amount of insight into your past, into your present, and into your future. So if like naturally, like doing that, like you have to be very, very like crafty to manipulate that board. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because I have seen it happen, right? But for the most part, like if you're doing that work, change comes natural with that. Like, you could fight it all you want. Like, I'll use myself for an example. When I first started programming, I wasn't there to like really change, because I was still with the bullshit, I was still, like on both sides of the fence. But in the process of that, like my belief systems, like a whole bunch of things were being challenged in the process of that, until one day it finally just clicked. Like, man, you know what? Like, I can't keep doing this either. Like, and a lot of it I attribute to my mentor, but he told me, like, you can't be on both sides of the fence. Choose one. Like, otherwise I can't be here for you. And he was right about that. So I think, like, for the most part, a lot of us just start programs in college and groups and vocations just with the hope of getting out. But then slowly but surely, in the process of that, like, the change becomes real. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
At first you could fake the funk, but eventually something's got to give and something's going to turn. I'm not saying for everybody. I don't want to make it like a blanket statement, but for the most part, bro, like, if you're really engaged in groups, like, even if you start with a selfish ambition, is like, I want to go home to my family. Not saying that's a bad thing, but it's like, it's nothing about your victims, or it's nothing about like being a positive role model to society or a positive contributor. It's just I want to get out of prison, and then slowly but surely, like, you're like, damn, I just want to change. I mean, that's how it was for me, I just wanted to change my life at a certain point.
I got some comments right here. So I got a comment from Esther, and she writes.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And she writes, very true. You have to want to change. So yeah, you know what? Like at the beginning of what your statement that you were just saying, you have to want to change. They just don't let anybody out. You're definitely not going to be running. You're not going to be running a liquor store drag on the board members, because they see it all the time. You have to actually have insight into your past and what you did, and a lot of the times when I have conversations with individuals like yourself, the word insight is being brought up. Do you have insight as into your past, and why is it that you did what you did?
Yeah, for sure. Man, bro, like, so I've been in like multiple lifer groups, right? Not just lifer groups, but like my life without parole groups, right? My LWOP group. So, a lot of that has been going back, and not only that, but even more so, bro, when I went through OMCP. So when I went through OMCP, like everything I had learned up to that point as far as insight was like brought together in a whole different way that I had never experienced while going through therapy at the same time. So yeah, bro, like now, and I started curriculums like for like to help people like gain insight or to explain their life crime or their past behavior, whatever, right? So yeah, man, it's been a long process. I would say from 2017 to about 2020. That was like a hard process of trying to figure it out. But from 2020 on, or 2020 forward, bro, like I got so much insight into that now it's like clear. Like I could explain. I'm very confident, not to sound arrogant or anything like, or prideful or like boastful, but I could basically break down any type of behavior that I used to like display and know why I did it and where it came from and all that stuff, you know. But it took a lot of work. That's like, think about it. That's 7 years of being at it constantly and challenging things and going deeper and writing a lot. It takes a lot of writing, so you know, it takes a lot of work to get there, man.
And you know what? And we got a comment here from another comment from Esther on the YouTube side, and she writes, "That's good. Hopefully he gets a second chance. We all deserve a second chance." And what else did she put? And we all make mistakes, and we all make mistakes, and the key is what we learn from them.
Yeah, I mean, but to say we deserve something is like, I don't like that word, right? So like, and I'll tell you why. And the board hates that word too. And at first I didn't understand that because I used to think I deserved a second chance, you know, like. But that was because I was looking through a victim stance point of view. But like, and I know not every lifer is here for murder, right? I know some people are here for attempted murder or maybe 3 strikes or, you know, whatever the case is, right? But like, if you're here for murder, like, you don't deserve anything, you know? Like, if you really want to be like technical about it, you deserve to like spend the rest of your life in prison, because if you get out, or whether you're doing life in prison, like, that person's not coming back, right? But it's coming to a point where, like, even though I'm not deserving of a second chance, I know I'm not the same person, if that makes sense, right? Like, it's not saying that I have anything coming, you know, but one thing I can guarantee is that I'm never going to hurt another human being again, you know? So when you hear, like, when people say you deserve, like, you know, there's some people, like, obviously, like, you know, we talked about it last time. That was my job as a drug and alcohol counselor, right? Through OMCP, like, you know, some of my participants say, man, you deserve to go home. And I'm like, you know, like, yeah, well, our victim deserves to be alive still, you know? His family deserves to have a visit or to see their son or their grandson or their brother change their life, you know? And he doesn't have that. Where I do, like, so I don't deserve nothing. You know, I owe it to him to change my life. I owe it to him to, like, live a better life. So, you know, when I hear people say you deserve to go home, like, man, Joseph, like, you're a different person. Like, you'll be such a contributor to society. I'm like, man, bro, but don't forget about the harm that I caused. You know, and I think people, like, and I get it, you know, like, I don't think anyone should just their life should just be thrown away, right? But to say that we deserve something or we have something coming, like, I don't agree with that at all, you know? Because our victims, especially if they were murdered, they deserve...
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
They deserve to still be here, you know, and not have their life taken away from them because we didn't know how to control our behavior and we thought that it was okay to do that, you know?
Hey, Joseph, I know the phone's about to get cut off, but I want to read off a message from you from one of the watchers here on TikTok, and it says, "Tell my brother Joseph, Corey said hi."
That Corey said hi?
Yep, Corey. Yep.
I know. Yeah. What's up, Corey? And what was the name of the person that posted that?
Corey. It's Corey. Corey's the person that posted it.
Okay, it's Corey. What's up, Corey?
Yep.
Where's my support letter at, man?
Hey, call back. It's about to hang up.
All right, bro.
All right, for sure. All right, and for anybody that's listening, if you have any questions that you guys want me to ask Joseph, I'll be more than happy to ask Joseph any questions you guys got, whether if it's on the TikTok side or the YouTube side. If you're on TikTok, I strongly recommend for you guys to check out the YouTube side of our channel. It also has the same name at CollectCallFrom. If you look at the screen right there, you can't miss it. We have live interviews, video visits. And a few other things, that you guys might find interesting, or you guys might learn a thing or two, as far as why these individuals are in the situations they're in. And here it is. He's calling right back.
Esta es Global
call is now
Talent.
being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Joseph Castro.
un individuo encarcelado en la prisión
Welcome back,
estatal
Bruce.
de Ironwood,
Gracias.
Drive, California.
Right now we're
Esta
doing
llamada
live
y
calls
su
from,
número de teléfono
from
será
Ironwood State
controlada
Prison.
y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Talent.
Hello.
Hello?
So I want to read off. What's up? I want to go ahead and read off some of the comments right here. We got a few more for you. So we got one from Esther. She writes, "I see your point," and then also Corey wrote, "Proud of you, bro. I got you." And then let me see. Let Joseph know. Let Joseph know. He said he's ready. So he'll go ahead and send it to you.
Okay.
To let you know.
Man, thank you, bro.
Let him know when you're ready. And
I'm proud of you too, man.
That's right, man. I apologize on the reading right there. I'm my eyes are going a little bit blurry. I'm not sure if they're dry or whatever, but I'm having a hard time kind of looking at the screen.
That's that OG vision.
Man, I don't got that 20/20 no more. Gotta get some reading glasses.
I've been telling my wife, I'm like, man, my vision is getting worse as the day goes by. I got my glasses on right now and things get blurry still, so I think I need to take a trip to the optometrist, man.
Right. Hey, and I got another comment right here from Faith, Hope, and Love, and she writes, we serve I think. I'm not sure if I'm reading it right. So she writes, we serve a forgiving God, and He has been forgiven, sure. Especially because it has a heart of repentance.
Yeah.
All right. That one, yeah, I totally butchered that one, but I appreciate the comments. And like I said, if you guys have any questions for Joseph, I'll go ahead and read them off to him, and then he'll go ahead and answer them as they come in. For today's topic, I brought it up on other streams, but I think it's something that's important that I want somebody like yourself to touch on, and it would be when individuals go in front of the board of parole, and some of the things that could get you possibly denied when you do go in front of the board of parole. Like some things that I've heard are that the board of parole they review your messaging, your phone calls,
yeah,
and any type of communication, and would you happen to know what kind of communication the board of parole is looking at that might get somebody denied from being granted or being found suitable to be paroled?
So I'll give an example of someone that I didn't necessarily know this person, but I was able to read his transcripts, right? And so when we had obviously when you get a tablet, all of a sudden now you have the ability to call somebody as many times as you want, right? So this person claimed to, let's just say, be a changed individual. He knew groups, he took groups, facilitated groups, been 115 free, right? And one of the things that he had gotten denied previously before was for domestic violence. And well, not necessarily domestic violence, but unhealthy relationships, not knowing how to cope with relationships, and it had come like from talking to a bunch of women at the same at one time, right? And basically, so they use his phone calls. So he, after that board hearing, I guess he had made like a domestic violence relapse prevention plan, like, you know, high risk situations, triggers, coping skills, all this stuff, like why him and his wife or his girlfriend, I don't know what she was to him, but like why they have such a communicative relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when he did this to himself, James. I don't mean to laugh, but like this is like a perfect example on like why they look at these things, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, he went in with this whole relapse prevention plan for domestic violence, and you know why like effective communicating, active listening, all these things like play a part in his relationship, and they asked him.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that board hearing, they're like, hey, so like tell us about this relapse prevention plan that you hope to, or you plan to utilize when you get out. And he goes into detail, and I know from reading, like he's right there like thinking that he's shooting it, right? Like he's like, yeah, naming his coping skills, his triggers, his warning signs, high risk situations that can make them like act out. And they're like, okay, like, man, that's like a very, like, you really thought about this plan, right? And he's like, yeah, like, I put a lot of effort. After you guys brought it to my attention, that's something we need to work on since I've been down since I was 18. I don't know what it means to be in a healthy relationship, right? And they're like, oh, that's interesting. So, like, so why do you continuously call your wife a bitch? And why do you cuss at her and hang up on her all the time?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and they asked him, like, how is that utilizing this relapse prevention? Help us understand that. Like, there's a huge gap in between what you're telling us and showing us on paper and what's on that phone call. And so that's like a perfect example, James, on like, you know, we kind of had a small conversation about this, but, you know, like, you could be in front of that board hearing, those commissioners, and you could be like, oh, I'm Mr. This and that, and I'm a facilitator, or like for me, I use an example, like I'm an OMCP counselor, I'm a deacon in the church, you know, I got it all together. And then they go listen to how you talk on that phone, and it's completely contrary to how you're talking to them. And it's easy, right? Like if they want to know something, bro, like they could investigate, bro, like trust and believe that they have the resources to do that for them and to make it easy for them, right?
Yeah.
And so like a lot of people fail to realize, like, you know, like this tablet, as much as of a blessing as it is, it could also bite you in the ass if you're not careful about it, you know? Whether that's like the people you talk to, or like the conversations that you're having, or like arguing all the time on that phone, or blocking, unblocking, because we've been seeing a lot of that lately. The tablet being used against people, like unhealthy relationships, just, you know, all kinds of things, bro. And it's like, if you're not aware of that, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can either use it as like a tool to like, obviously like have communication with people, or you can shoot yourself in the foot because you're one way in group, in church, and all this stuff, and in front of the commissioners. But on that phone, they're gonna know exactly who you are through the messaging, through any.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
So, and it's getting a lot. I feel like we've been seeing it a lot more than when the tablets first rolled out. And yeah, man, like especially here in Ironwood, I've seen like, you know, like one thing people do is get twerk videos, you know, like and you know, I know that sounds funny, but like it's a real thing. Like you'll see dudes like 5 deep at a table just watching twerk videos nonstop from TikTok.
All maniacs.
People sell them, you know. Maniacos, bro. Like
straight maniacs.
It's ridiculous, bro. I tell my wife sometimes I got my eye busted. Like I was just watching the day and all these guys are watching ass clapping and all this stuff. Like damn, bro. Like you know, like what's wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
You know, but like, you know, things like that, and it's like you're telling me that you're a changed individual, but how does that show that? So, you know, we're seeing it a lot right now. But it makes sense if you really think about that, because like, who do you think you're fooling, you know? And these people, like, public safety is always going to be number one. So like, obviously, like, if you're still displaying manipulative patterns and behavior, like, why should we let you out? You know, you're a risk to society, like, because the way, I know, like, we kind of talked about it too, like, maybe people look, well, that's not such a bad thing, like, that's something small, like, he's not hurting people, he's not killing people, like, he's not violent, he's not selling drugs or doing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that they understand is that, like, these little justifications that we give ourselves, slowly but surely they're going to add up to a bigger thing until you are doing those things, until you are slinging dope again or kicking it with the homies or you know, like, and that's something that they're aware of, you know. But, you know, a lot of the guys in here, they're like, oh, they were tripping. It's like, no, you were tripping, bro. Like, what do you think? Like, where in your mind did you think that they were going to trip on that, you know? So, like, you brought that to yourself, bro. Like, and as a facilitator for Lifers Group and a facilitator for my LWOP group, you know, I always tell these guys, like, be careful what you're saying because and what you're doing on that tablet, bro, because they're going to know exactly who you are just by looking at that and how you spend your time on them.
Yeah, you know what, and that's one of the and that's one of the reasons when I have conversations with you guys, off of the air, I don't ask you guys anything that's gonna compromise yourself or put you in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Like I don't ask you about like any of your war stories or like the stuff you were seeing in the background because I fully know, and it wouldn't be cool for me, to be asking stuff like that because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, and I know the Board of Parole, sees it and whatnot, and it could definitely affect you in a negative matter. And man, and I wouldn't feel good at all, if I cost somebody their date. So, I think a lot of people don't think about those things, like if they have a brother, a husband, boyfriend, Sancho, or whatever, whatever connection you have with an incarcerated individual, you might affect them, without actually thinking that it's a big deal. But to the Board of Parole, it is, especially I
everything, man.
Sometimes I see these TikTok videos and stuff where you have these girls, or women, and they have like their dudes, bring their tablet to a video visit, and they want to see like everybody that's on their contact list, and then they post it up on social media, not realizing that the Board of Parole is also looking at these video visits, to see, where people are at mentally, and that's definitely not a good look. It's not cute, and I'm assuming, when the Board of Parole, looks at these videos, I'm sure they're thinking that it's definitely not a healthy relationship. So, think about it. If you want your dude to parole to your house and you're doing those type of things and, you're putting it out there, it shows that you guys have no trust or you don't have any trust or, I'm not sure what the relationship is, but it's definitely not a good look. And it's not going to help you, bring your loved one home.
And the thing is, James, so there's a statistic, right? And usually they use it for lifers mostly, right? But you could if you use it for everybody, like the percentages are higher, right? But the two things that bring people back to prison, whether like I said, they focus on lifers, but there's two things, right? What do you think the two things that bring people back to prison, like the top two things that bring people back? What would you think? Maybe you already know. I'm not sure.
I think domestic violence. And drogas.
Yep, substance use and domestic violence, right?
Yeah.
So and that's a fact. That's statistically proven. They've done studies on it. Those are the top two things, right? So like, say you have a drug problem, right? Which I would say at least 80 to 90% of us had some type of substance use disorder, right? And then a lot of us, bro, didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like. We definitely weren't in healthy relationships, and then you're getting out to a bunch of temptation that you've never been exposed to as an alleged different person, right? So like when you think about that, like if you're arguing all the time with your girl, like, or if it's unhealthy, you guys are like going back in.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
What do you think that's going to look like in the streets? If you can't even get it together in prison, like you really don't have any hope in the streets, And so, like, they know this, and it's like, if you're going to put yourself at a high-risk situation like that, it's only a matter of time till you come back, because what if she calls the cops and says you hit her?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's true or not. I mean, either way, like, you put yourself in that situation because you don't know how to communicate. And, yeah, bro, it's why they look at these things, bro, and, like, it's sad to see, because another statistic...
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
1 out of 3 people are getting paroled or getting found suitable in that board hearing. That's with everyone that goes, like, without stipulations, without waiving, without any of that stuff. Like, people that are going in there are either getting granted or denied. It's 1 out of 3 people. So 33% of people are getting parole that are going into those hearings. Like, so if you think about that, like, man, that's why you see so many more people getting denied. You know, 33%, it seems like a lot, but really that's not a lot if you take that into consideration and how many people are going to board, you know? But it's because of those things that people, like, don't want to look into, man. And it's sad, because if they just looked a little bit into those areas of their life, maybe they would have been out a long time ago. But they're stuck after 20, 30, 40 years.
It's going to hang up. Call back.
Yep.
All right, for
All
sure.
right, got you, James.
All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you. So today, sometime around 7-ish, I'm not exactly sure at what time, we're going to be having Felipe coming back on, and we're actually going to be doing a video visit. And Lisa, hello, hey, thank you. All about second chances. He's a smart guy. I'll go ahead and read out those messages to him right now when he comes back. And you know what? Hey, huge shout out to you guys. Really appreciate you guys for tuning in. I know you guys could be doing all kinds of other things right now, watching who knows what on TikTok. So, it's definitely a pleasure for you guys, to tune in, or a pleasure for me. My words might be getting a little bit mixed up right there, but you guys know what I'm saying.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada propagada de
Joseph Castro.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Ironwood, Blythe, California.
Ironwood.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. I know the message or the notice kind of cut you off, so if you want to go ahead and continue where you left off from.
Yeah, it's crazy just thinking about, like, when you really put that into perspective, that only 33% of the people going to board are going home.
Yeah.
And that means twice as many more people, 2/3 of those people that are going to board are getting denied. And the thing that's sad, James, is that people are aware of this. It's not like they're in prison and they don't know about these things. And yet people still choose to, like, just be in these toxic relationships. Because my wife, I've heard some of the TikTok videos of, like, the things that you're talking about, or she's, like, talking to me about that stuff. And man, it's crazy how people just, they're still stuck in that, and they don't realize, like, that's going to keep them in prison, bro. Like, you would think, like, what does it have to do with me killing someone, right?
Yeah. But
it has everything to do with it. Like, like, you're a loose cannon, and all it's going to take is, like, for you to get triggered. You're already a violent individual. You've already shown that, So, like, how can we trust you to get out in society, like, when you clearly don't have no emotional regulation, or, like, you're not even aware, and, like, you can't even control your behavior? Like, why would we let someone like that out?
Yeah, you know what, and ultimately, when the border parole finds you suitable, to be released, you might be their neighbor. So you think if they find somebody suitable, to come home, they don't want somebody that's unstable and that might, act out on their react, negatively on a situation, a split of the moment. So,
and I don't even want that, and I'm in prison.
Hey, yeah, and then
I'm in prison with life without parole, and I don't want no JCat next to me,
Yeah. So you know, they want people that have shown, you know, a clear change, because if something happens, you know, it affects. It's a ripple effect. You know, you know, they might hurt somebody. So then, you know, the board members are going to have that over their head, on their conscience, because hey, they found this person suitable, and look what he did. And then that
Yeah.
individual, if they come out and they commit a, you know, they do something heinous, is going to affect, you know, people that are trying to come home, you know, people that are on the positive path, the people that have changed. So you know, they gotta look. Everybody needs to play their part in this. You know, the border patrol make sure everybody,
Yeah.
you know, that they're fit. And then when you come home and you're found suitable, you gotta think about the people that are still in there that haven't made it out yet. Because you know, we never know. You know, those doors
Yeah.
might close. You know, they might not. We don't know how long those doors are gonna be open for. You know, one day, you know, a new.
Yeah.
A new, what is it? A governor might come into office and he's like, Charlie, hey, I'm gonna close these doors down. Hey, that's it. It's over. You know, the fun times are over. We're gonna go back to the old ways, and that's that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure what I was trying to get at, but you know, I think I just made my point on you know, the border parole.
Yeah, it's serious, man. I think that's why for me, I had to look into my life, you know. So obviously for me, I don't just have life; I have life without parole. So obviously, I have to go to twice the struggle. Not only do I have to try to get a board date, but then I still have to go try to get granted an board date. So I have like a really upscale battle compared to the normal lifer, right? But in a sense, I'm grateful for that, because it's literally, I don't want to say forced me, but like I said, I had to choose, bro. Like, who is it that I want to be? You know, like, what type of man do I want to be? What type of person? And more importantly, like, for me and my faith, you know, like, what type of person God wants me to be? You know, and once I got to that, bro, like I said, my changes started like real.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I just wanted to go home. I didn't want to die in prison, so like I wanted to give myself a chance, right? But then it just, I'm telling you, man, it turned into something like I want to be a better person in all aspects of my life. The way that I treat my family, the way that I treat women, the way that I treat my neighbor, you know, the cops, because I still have like a hard time with the cops, but I choose to like humanize them. I can see things through a different perspective, and like, even when old belief systems come, because like, to think that you change and you don't have those belief systems still, like, that's not realistic, right? You're gonna have to like battle some things, but man, bro, like, it's up to you to start challenging those things. So like, when I made that choice to completely turn my life around, that was it, bro. Like, it's not to say that I'm perfect, because I fail all the time. I have shortcomings all the time, but man, bro, like, I'm not on that. I'm not trying to play both sides anymore. And it's just sad to see a whole bunch of other people like basically think they can half-ass it, you know. And it's like, man, you weren't half-assing to get in here, you know. Like, you were about that.
Yeah.
You were you were about that lifestyle, bro, like 100%. And even if you weren't, you were at least 1,000% in it when you made that decision. So, like, why aren't you doing the same thing for something that's gonna matter now, and like in the long run benefit you, you know, and benefit everyone around you? Like, why wouldn't you want that? So that's why I tell people, like, dude, like, the only reason why you're in prison is because of you, not because of a commissioner, not because of a cop, not because someone snitched on you, but because of you, bro. Like, and if you want to do 20, 30 years, 40 years in prison, like, by all means, handle it, bro. But man, I can't imagine like going through that, you know, and still making excuses, because I see it every day, bro. Like, oh, they were tripping, or it's not that big of a deal, or, you know, at least I'm not violent. Like, okay, like, but you still can't follow a goddamn rule that says don't cross the yellow line. It literally says don't cross, and you still want to be a jackass and cross it because you think it's not a big deal. You know, like, it's crazy, bro. Like,
yeah, if you can't
it's like,
follow,
this is exactly why you're still here, brother.
yeah, if you can't follow a simple line and a sign on the wall, then how are you going to be able to
Yeah.
function out here? You know, where there's all kinds of laws, no speeding, no jaywalking. There's little things
Yeah.
like that what they're looking for. Because from what I hear,
Yeah.
having conversations with yourself and other individuals, you could get a 115 for pretty much anything. If for having
Yeah.
for covering your window, or
Yeah.
I don't know, like walking maybe without your ID. I'm not sure if that's one, but you might get a
Yeah.
lower one. But
Yeah, it is.
yeah. So there's as soon as you could get a 115 without walking out of your room. So and it's like that out here. You could get in trouble, for doing stuff in your house. So you can't follow rules in there. Then how do they expect you to follow rules out here?
Yeah, and it's true, man.
And let me ask you. So another thing that I've heard that people have, that they found that gets them denied when they go in front of the parole board, is avoiding paying restitution by having their family members or loved ones put money onto other individuals' accounts, so they could be able to go to store or utilize those funds for food sales or other things. Have you seen
Yeah.
a lot of people get affected by doing that?
So that's a big issue right now. My wife actually brought it to my attention on a TikTok video that she saw of this lady or this woman and about her husband who got denied. And then when you get denied, usually the lowest denial is a 3-year denial, which is an 18-month automatic recall, right? So you get denied 3 years, but you'll go back in 18 months, a year and a half. And they're like, I hear it all the time. People are like, they're getting petty, bro, like, because they're letting people out, and it's just like, and I'm guilty of it too, bro. Like, don't think that like and the reason why I say this is because I got content, right? And I have to live with that choice that I made, But literally, like, looking at that, I know, like, people like, well, why are they tripping on that? Like, your family, the biggest excuse people use is like, well, my family shouldn't have to pay for that. Like, that's my crime, which is completely true, It's 100% true. But the thing is that they're not looking at it as like, oh, you can say that, but at the end of the day, the reason why you're doing it is for your own selfish ambition. It's not to like not have your family pay it. It's because you want to get that full money, if you're real about it. Like, it has nothing to do with our family. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, oh, I don't want my wife to pay 50%, or I don't want my mom or my brothers and my uncles, my cousins, whoever it is, whoever's putting money on that person's books. But it has nothing to do, if you want to be real about it, it's because we get content, and then $50 is not enough, so we want the whole 100. So like the board sees it as like you're manipulating and you're avoiding your responsibility. And then especially if you have a job, it's like, like one thing for me that I struggle with is like, I have one of the best paying jobs in prison. Like, why did I have a need to do that? And that comes from me. I mean, the way I would answer it is that it's contentment. I got content and falling into the patterns of denial, like I'm minimizing and rationalizing and justifying all these things. And in my mind, it's not even that big of a deal. Like how I said, like, oh, I'm not stabbing anyone or I'm not taking off on anybody, but it's those little justifications that we give ourselves that could lead up.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It's those little justifications that lead to something bigger, and that's how the board sees it. They don't see like, it's just, he's just putting money on someone's books. Like, they don't see it as that.
Yeah.
And I know that we want to play the victim and be like, oh no, like they're tripping, like, my family and this, and if you're real with yourself, it has nothing to do with anyone except us. I don't care what anyone says.
I think another one also too that's often overlooked, because I've had people tell me that are incarcerated is not a big deal. It's having a cell phone.
Yeah.
People say I'm not using it for anything criminal. Like, I just wanted to FaceTime with my family. I wanted to talk to my mom, or I want to talk to my dad, or whatever. And the board definitely doesn't see it like that, because obviously, if you have a cell phone, you could utilize it for many other things. To run some illicit things, illicit activities that you don't want the institution to know about, or somebody could get hurt. They don't know what you're using it for.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I think that's one that a lot of people downplay it, and they don't see it for what it is. And I think it's cost a lot of people their date. And at the end of the day, if you really think about it, is it really worth losing your date over having people put money on other people's books over a cell phone? Like, hell nah. Like, I'd rather be out on the street. A 3-year denial, 5-year denial, 7-year, or I think they could go all the way to 15. Like, none of that. If I was in that type of situation, would be worth me losing my date over.
I remember, like, past relationships, like, having the means to get a cell phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I remember I never did it, right? And I could have got one easily, multiple times, easily. But the thing is that, like, I would think about, like, what's more important, like, that instant gratification of being on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Do I want that in prison, that instant gratification, that short-lived? Or do I want to be in the streets where I could have 10 cell phones if I want? Like, that, like, what the hell? Like, or like to, like, these women that, like, that look out for their man, it's like, okay, well, basically what you're saying is now you're buying him a phone, so what you're saying is you're content with having a prison husband for the rest of your life. Like, you're content with that. Or, like, if you get family visits, like, screw a family visit, let's just FaceTime. Like, that's what you're potentially saying, like, and when you really look at that, that's the stupidest thing you could ever do,
Mm-hmm.
Like, who wants to stay in prison for the rest of their life when you could literally go out there and have 10 cell phones if you want and not worry about a write-up or a denial?
Hey, call back. It's about to hang up.
All
right. You know what he just said right there is, like, that it's true. Like, who would want their dude to stay in prison, or their wife to stay in the prison, just for having a cell phone while you could have them out on the street? Do you really want them to stay back there? I don't know. If there's anybody in there, or anybody listening to this TikTok stream, we definitely want to know. Please drop some comments in the chat, and I'll go ahead and try to get to them as they come in. But sometimes I can't, because I can't interrupt the conversation. And there it is. He is calling back. All right, it's a little bit delayed.
Es Global Telling. Usted tiene una
This
llamada
call is now being
propagada de
recorded.
Joseph Castro.
un individuo encarcelado en la prisión estatal de Ironwood, Drive, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5. Hey, what's up, Sanho 408?
Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
What's up, James?
What's up? So you know, earlier on when we were talking about having money being put on other individuals' books, we had a comment from underscore Mama Kitty 13 underscore, and she writes, "That's why I won't put money on others' books on only his."
Yep. Straight up. That's someone that loves her husband.
Hell yeah. And like right now when the call that got disconnected, I was like, man, and it's true what you just said right there. Like what would you want your dude to be, or your wife to be, behind bars, when you could just have them come, be out here, just to have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Like, screw that. hey, I'd rather be on the street, or I'd rather have my loved one on the street, opposed to just having being able to have a cell phone. Like you said, hey, you could be out here, you could have 10 cell phones, you could have as many cell phones as you want all day, every day.
And the thing that I'll say, James, is like for myself, right? Like that's why I said contentment. Like for me, that's a huge trigger. Like not a trigger, but like a warning sign. So I kick myself in the ass, right? But like getting content, like I'm comfortable, and it was kind of, and like I said, like there's someone here that he got granted parole, and this is when the yard was still GP, so he's one of the guys that stayed here, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been down like 20-something years. He was celled up with his brother who had LWOP, been around, he's known, and the board asked him, when was the last time you had someone put money on your books? And he said, like 2 years ago. They granted him parole. At that moment, they said, okay, they gave him the date.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 months later, or right with...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
So you know how you have 150 days until, like, the governor could...
Embonk you?
Could basically take your date, revoke your date, embonk you or take your date, right?
Yeah.
Well, right before he was getting to 150 days, they took his date and said, look, on this date, you had someone put money on your books, and you told us that it had been 2 years. And they stripped him of his date, bro. And that's exactly like, the contentment. Like, I'm pretty sure at that moment he was like, all right, I'm going to have it. I'm looking out for the homie, whatever, food sale, whatever, but like, that's not how they look at it, and now he has to go to board. He'll get it, he'll get it this time. Now he has a little bit more, he has 18 months clean of that. So that was their only concern, because he got granted parole, but they went back and looked at his thing and they took it. So, and there's an article right now in the Mule Creek Post, which is like the Mule Creek's like a little newsletter, and the commissioner was explaining, I don't know verbatim what she said. I read it sometime last week, but she was talking about like why they're focusing on that, and again, manipulation, criminal thinking, and then like whoever's doing that is enabling you. And that might not even be the case, like maybe your family members, like maybe they really don't have it like that, and they're like, well, I'd rather put it on this person's book than yours, or or maybe they don't understand the severity of that, And then what makes that worse though is that us in prison, we know that that's against the rules. So in a sense, like, we're victimizing our families for making them feel bad or for making them think that it's okay. Like, if you really look at it, we're victimizing them. And these are hard. This is a hard thing I had to look at. Like, damn, like, why did I do that? I don't need to do that. So like, and then it made me feel like guilty. And then I was like, man, like, and I know better. That's the thing, is that I know better. But again, it goes back to that contentment, the greed, the instant gratification, the impulsivity, and all that stuff. And if they would have ever asked me about it, I'm gonna be straight up about it. Like, there is no excuse. There's no way around it. But what it taught me was that I can't get. That's why in my relapse prevention plan I have complacency as a trigger. I can't get complacent, because it's those little things that can lead to the big things, and it's on, like, I mean, it might not lead to murder or anything, like, again, but who knows what that could be like. I could have a beer, I could smoke a blunt, I could do one line, I could do a shot, like, those are the things that they're worried about, like, and that's why it's so important just to stick it out, man. Like, I know it's hard. I know it sucks, but at the end of the day, we know the rules, and we know them better than our families. And that's the messed up part, is that, like, we'll make it sound smooth, like we're smooth manipulators and talkers, and be like, nah, just put it right here, like, you shouldn't have to be paying 50% of my stuff. And it's like, well, first of all, you're paying, like, unless that's your boy, you're paying at least $20 for every 100, or $10 for every $50. So no matter what, there's some money going to that other person, So So in reality, you're paying for it no matter what, you know? Or the homie wants the ice cream for sure. You know? When you could just, and especially if you have a job in prison, bro, like, you know, this is to me, bro. It was a learning lesson, and it was just a reminder, bro, that I have to, like, at all costs, I have to do the right thing, not just because there's consequences, but because of my integrity, you know.
You know what, and that's and I want to share something with you. So when I was like younger, when everybody, when I would have friends and they would have, and I knew they were strapped, and these fools would be cagapalos, I'll dip. I'm like, hey, I'm out, and because I didn't want to be around it. And it's kind of like the same thing, you know, like, you know, when it comes to things like that, you just got to learn how to say no and leave. You know, they might make fun of you. Most likely they're gonna make fun of you, but hey, at the end of the day, you know, what do you cherish more? You know, your freedom or caring what the next person thinks about you? Because if they're your homies, they're not gonna, they or your friend, they wouldn't put you in a situation like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And vice versa with us, man. If we really cared about our family members, bro, we wouldn't manipulate them to do the things that we want them to do.
Yeah. And let me see right here.
That's a cold reality, bro. Like, you know, I'm telling you, I had a learning lesson, like, you know, and I had to be real with myself and ask myself these questions on why. You know, me and my coworker, you my boy, you know, especially as counselors and all these things, like, they hold us to a whole higher standard because we're OMCP mentors, and, you know, we're bound by a code of ethics, and, you know, we have one of the best paying jobs in prison. Like, once we're certified counselors, we get paid $2 an hour, you know, so, like, there's a lot of responsibility behind that, you know, so I know that I know we look at it as it's not that big of a deal, dude, like, but it is, you know. If you really look at it in the grand scheme of things, it is a big deal. It might not be a big deal to you because of that victim stance. And that's why I thank OMCP, bro, like, because, like, going through denial management and criminal thinking, it made me understand these aspects of my life, like, on a way deeper level. Like I said, I'm not perfect, bro. Like, nobody is, you know. We're all flawed, but these are, like, hard questions you got to ask yourself. Like, why do I do this? You know, why do I continuously do it even though I know it's wrong? And more importantly, is that worth not going home?
Absolutely. That's a big hell to the no.
Hell no, bro.
Like who wants to, you know, who wants to be, you know, celled up with another dude, you know, when you got the opportunity to, you know, be out and live with your wife, live with your family, live on your own, you know, live in the transitional housing and get out to your family. So I don't think
I
there's
got too much to go home to, man.
Yeah.
I got a wife. I got 3 cats waiting for me. I got a beta fish.
That's right. Yeah.
I gotta take my lizards home. So they have a whole house, not just a cell.
That's right. Right.
But man, bro, like you think about that suffering, like the alleged suffering or the perceived suffering that we go through because we had to pay restitution and all that stuff, right? But then again, tying it back to the people that we hurt to get into prison, you know, like, what about their suffering? That little suffering that we go through can't even compare to what they're going through on a day-to-day basis, especially if you hear from murder. So it's all about perspective, bro. Like, and I'm not saying you're gonna get it right away, but like when you start looking at all those aspects of it, like, it starts changing you slowly but surely.
Sorry, Joseph, my daughter just came up and she's trying to show her face on the camera, so I'm trying to push her away. I'm trying to push her away.
That's right.
She came in a little while ago when we originally started talking, and she was like, she was telling me that she wanted a dog. She's like, Papa, can I have a dog? And I was like, we got to talk about this later. I can't have this conversation right now.
We got to have a house meeting. Yeah. If it counts, James, my vote is yes. If I'm in prison with 3 lizards, I think your daughter should be able to have a dog.
Oh man, she snuck around me over here. She was able to get around.
That's funny.
Man, yeah, I try to keep her off. You know, whenever I'm online or whatever, you know, I don't want her, you know, showing her face or whatever, you know, because like I don't even post up
Yeah.
pictures of her on social media, just, you know, just to protect her
Yeah.
her privacy. But she don't understand that right now. She's 5 years old and she don't care. She just came. She just wanted to do that, and now she's
Yeah.
she's on her way out. She's shaking the spot now. She's funny. Anyhow,
Yeah, that's funny.
I know we're getting closer to that time right now. We're about to be hitting 7.
Yeah.
Is there any shout outs you want to give before we part ways?
Just man, I want to give a shout out to my boy Corey, man. He wrote me a support letter while we were in Cascade. You know, so I still have that, you know. But I'm proud of him. You know, I got to see him have his daughter and all that stuff. I'm glad that he's doing what he's doing in Orange County. Of course, my wife for being my biggest supporter, my grandma, my family, you know, and not only that, but one that I'm careful on. Like, I'll never say their names or anything, you know, but my victim's family, you know, for praying for my forgiveness, you know, like with that person that shared, you know, that we serve a merciful God, a gracious God, you know, and the fact that they were able to forgive me and pray for me, like, I really believe God answered their prayers, and it's a part of who I am today, you know, and just people like you too, James, that see our humanity even after, you know, making the most horrible choices, man. I really appreciate it because that showed me my worth, you know. It was people like you that didn't give up on me, or that saw the person that I really was at heart, that like gave me a chance to believe who I really was, you know, and who I was meant to be. So shout out to everybody out there that believes in that second chance. Not that we're deserving, right? But we could be confident that we're not the same people. So like, you know, and even the people that don't believe that, you know, I appreciate them too, because it's a reminder that I don't have anything coming, you know, so it keeps me in a humble state. So, yeah, I just want to thank you again for the platform.
You're welcome.
I thank all the viewers. And most of all, you know, I thank God for just a second chance, bro, because I shouldn't be here, you know, like, I shouldn't have this chance. And the fact that I'm still here, bro, like, being able to share a message and have a platform to do with you, like, that shows me who.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Joseph, you know what? I got another question that just came in from the YouTube side, and I definitely can ignore this
Le
question
queda
here.
un restante de 60 segundos.
So I want to read it off for you, and if you could call me back so you could give us an answer for this one, all right? And Elena writes, I like to have fun. I like to have fun with my man in prison, pretending like he's my pimp, and I'm giving him money. You think that the board? You think the board's gonna look down on that? Do they go through the messages?
Nah.
Judge what I be writing?
Nah, me and my wife, we have these role plays where I'm the counselor and she's my client, so don't worry, she'll be all right. Like, we make fun of my job because she's a social worker too, you know. So like we make fun of it, but like, no, she don't got nothing to worry about that.
Okay. All right, then. Well, hey, you gave us the answer. And like I said around here, Joseph, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we're out. Rato. Oh, we'll be back shortly. I believe I have a video visit coming up shortly. So stay tuned. Make sure you got the notifications on. And I am out. Signing off.